my name's Kate and I work at your fire station. You have kindly sent us a whole load of really interesting questions and hopefully very soon we'll get to come and see you.
Do you have special animals to help you?
Yes, Axel is our search and rescue dog. He's aged 1 and he is still training.
How do you find out there's a fire?
Our fire service control centre will receive the 999 call and take all the incident details. This information is used to create the fire call. Control send the fire call to the nearest fire station. The firefighters jump onto their fire engine and drive to the emergency with their blue lights and sirens.
Where do you keep your fire kit?
Does it take long to put on?
Is it fireproof?
Well, we're in the fire kit room. When we're off duty, this is where our equipment is stored. And if you follow me through to the appliance bay, when we come on duty, we take the fire kit from there and we bring it in and store it on and around the fire engine. Obviously that makes things a lot quicker to get out the doors and attend an emergency if we're called to one. This is the fire kit. Does it take long to put on? Well, no, not really. 10-15 seconds. And to help us do that, you'll notice the trousers are stored over the fire boots, so we can literally just jump into our fire boots and pull the trousers up, add our jacket, helmet, and jump on the fire appliance. Fireproof, well no, it will burn eventually, but obviously we limit our exposure to heat and flame as much as we can, but it does afford us a great deal of protection with fire and flame.
How long does it take you to go once you've had a 999 call?
Firefighters at Carrow Fire Station are ready to respond immediately. Fire at Trout. Yep. Fire forward.
Crews from different towns often get called to the same emergency.
How many people fit on the fire engine?
Please tell me how many you see.
Alright guys, I'll get up to about 20 there. Okay, so let's have a serious look around the fire engine and see how many we've actually got. So, as you can see, all 25 of them have now got out. I've got Mick, who's sitting in the front. Obviously before we can get anywhere at all, we're going to have a driver. Yeah, driver's really important. He's the one that's going to get us to the incident. He's the one that's going to sound the sirens and the blue lights to make sure we get there safely. Come around the other side, the fire appliance, we've got where the officer in charge would normally be sitting. Okay, we've got a mobile data terminal there which is going to help us track our way and tell us where the address and everything is and the type of incident. And then if you look in the back of the fire engine, generally we would have 3 people sitting in the back of the fire engine. We would have 2 people who'd be ready to rig in the BA set so you can see behind, and also there'd be an entry control officer in there as well. So the answer to that question is normally it would be 5 people who would be riding on the fire appliance.
Why do you use fire trucks instead of cars?
Well, the main reason would be is that we get to carry a lot more kit on a fire truck than we would in a car.
What tools do firefighters use?
So we've got lockers on both sides of the pump where we store lots of different things. For example, we've got a portable pump here and also a portable fan which we use. Again, hose and a hose reel and some ropes, lots of other little bits and bobs we use.
How much water does a fire engine hold?
There are 1,800 litres of water on this fire engine. That's the same as about 900 bottles of cola.
And we wouldn't be able to put that in the back of the car, would we? So also around the back, we've got, more importantly, our ladders. You're not going to get the ladders on top of your mum and dad's car, so hence why we have a big red fire engine.
How do you stay brave in a dangerous situation?
Firefighters always work as part of a team, looking after each other, keeping each other safe. We train and practice for all fire calls every day, prepared for any emergency. Here, a firefighter is crawling through a tight tunnel to get to a fire and put it out wearing breathing apparatus.
Do you feel brave when you fight a fire?
I don't feel brave as a firefighter. I think the work we have to do is sometimes brave work, but because we're so well trained and we train so hard, that it gives us the skills and the tools we need to be good at our job. So we don't have to feel brave or scared.
How do you become a firefighter?
To be a firefighter, you have to apply. So you have to work really hard at school. And once you've worked really hard at school and the fire service are recruiting, you're then able to apply, pass the tests that are needed, and hopefully be successful in the recruitment process.
How do you enter building fires safely?
What do you wear to protect yourself?
So firstly, before we go into what we're going to have as a simulated building fire, we're just going to look to see what the firefighters are rigged in.
What kind of boots do you wear?
What we've got some really big heavy boots on, okay. They've got the fire kit, which is made of a fire retardant material. They'll be wearing a helmet, and also they've got a breathing apparatus set on as well, which is going to protect them from smoke. As we come over to the door, okay, we're going to do a certain amount of safety checks before we actually go through that building door to make sure the firefighters are protected the best they can.
Why do you wear a helmet?
Our helmets protect our heads, just like your cycle helmets do.
If it's in a building fire, we can get temperatures up to about 1,000, 1,500 degrees C, which is really, really hot. So we need to make sure that when we make entry, we're as safe as we possibly can.
Who is the Chief Fire Officer and what colour helmet does he wear?
Hello, my name's Stuart and I'm the Chief Fire Officer of Norfolk Fire and Rescue. I'm really pleased to meet you. The helmet I wear on the fireground is white. It's got this really large stripe on the side and a big black stripe across the comb of the helmet.
Hi, I'm Terry, Station Manager at Kings Lynn. For my role, I have to wear a white fire helmet with a black stripe down the side.
Hi, I'm Megan. I work in Great Yarmouth and I wear a yellow helmet with black front because I'm a firefighter.
Hello, my name is Stuart. I'm a crew manager here at Kings Lynn. For my role, I wear a yellow helmet with 2 black stripes.
Do you get scared or worry when you go into a burning building?
The short answer to that would be there's always an element of worry. But this is a job we want to do. And as a firefighter, you understand the risk and responsibilities put on your shoulders in those sorts of times. Some of the things that help us with our role, that give us confidence, would be the training we receive. In Norfolk, we have such a high standard of training.
What equipment do you take?
Another thing that helps us is our personal protection equipment, like the clothing we wear. This helps when we go into a building, gives us protection while we're in there. As you can see here, something else that we wear is our breathing apparatus.
How do the masks get you air?
As you can see here, so with this, we put this on and it gives us about 30 minutes of fresh air so we can go into a building and rescue life or put out a fire.
What's the best bit of kit you have?
Our thermal imaging camera, which we also call TIC. What this does is it picks up heat. So if we're looking for people or a fire, but we can't see through the darkness or the smoke, this thing will pick it up for us.
What do you do at the fire station when you're not fighting fires?
We've already answered that with the number of and amount of training that we have to do and all of the equipment we have to be experts at whilst on station, so that if we do have an emergency, we can deal with it effectively.
Why are fire engines red?
Back in the 1900s, early days when the first cars were coming on the road, you were unable to buy a car in red. That's obviously really important that when a fire engine responds to an incident, that they can be quite clearly seen and quite clearly identified. So I think that's why they use red as a colour.
Can we see someone driving the fire engine?
Today we've got Steve, who's our driver, so he's going to come out and show us. If you see us drive past, give us a wave and we'll give you a toot.
What kind of vehicles do you have?
As you can see, we have an environmental protection unit which we use for chemical related incidents and to clean our firefighters down after incidents, as well as a raft here which we can use to go to flooding related incidents.
How do you put out fires?
So we have different equipment that we can put out a fire with. One of them is a hose reel jet. So we use this to attack the fire with water which comes out of here via turning the lever on and off. We can do it in a jet or we can do it in a nice big cone. If we're at a fire which we can't get the fire truck to, one of our bits of equipment we have is a backpack sprayer. So this holds water and it's effectively a big water gun. So we can use that to get to places where we can't put the fire truck and get the fire truck there, so we can use that to put out smaller fires, like in a forest. We have a lot of forests in Norfolk. Another bit of equipment is a fire extinguisher. We use different types of fire extinguishers. This one's a dry powder one, so we'd use this on, say, electrical fire, which we wouldn't want to put water on because we shouldn't mix water with electric. To use this, we'd aim the nozzle and pull the trigger. Another bit of equipment is a beater. So we'd use this on a field fire to pat the fire out. So if we had a really big field fire and we had a lot of firefighters but we couldn't get the fire truck there and the fire was just spreading across the field, we'd follow it and pat the fire out with this big it's just a big rubber mat. Another bit of equipment is a fire blanket. So you might have these in your kitchens. They're good for kitchen fires. If you've got a pot or anything on fire, you'd open the blanket up, and then if the bucket was on fire, you just lay it over and walk away and leave it like that. And then what the blanket does, it smothers the fire to stop oxygen getting to it, which puts the fire out.
How long is the hose you use?
The yellow hose is 60 metres long. The red hoses are 25 metres long and we can join lots of them together. How do the hoses join together?
How does the hose get water in it?
Where does the water come from?
I'm at the rear of the fire engine here, where we have what we call our major pump. Behind this control area we've got a water tank. It holds 1,800 or 1,800 litres of water.
and if we run out, we can top it up through here from a hydrant, which you may see out the back.
We get them from fire hydrants in the ground, which are marked by yellow plates on the wall. If you have a look down your street or where your school is, you'll probably find one or two of those. On the ground, it's marked by a metal plate painted yellow, and we're just going to show you what we do to get water from there into our fire engine.
What causes fires in homes?
There are many causes of fires. A lot of the instances we go to, fires are caused with electrical problems. This could be from a faulty appliance, faulty wiring in a property, or maybe just simply putting too many plugs into a plug socket and causing it to overheat. Fires are also caused when people get distracted whilst cooking and leave something unattended on the stove or in the oven. Fires are also caused from naked flames, either from matches, cigarettes, or even candles. So please, don't play with matches.
What to do if your clothes catch on fire? 1. Stop. Stop where you are. 2. Drop. Drop to the ground. 3. Roll. Cover your face with your hands and roll until the fire is out.
So we don't just respond to fires and other emergencies, we also aim to keep people safe from fires, especially in the home. We recommend that everybody has at least one smoke detector on every floor of their house. Testing them once a week is a good measure to ensure they're still working fully, and they can be cleaned once a month just with a hoover around the vents just to get any dust and other things out from inside them. Testing them, if they are quite high up, you can use either a broom handle or a mop to press the large central button, which this one has. They sound like this, so should you hear one, you know it's an emergency.
How often do you wash the fire engines?
We wash our fire engines every day to ensure they're nice and clean, just like this one here.
Do you use crash mats when climbing buildings?
First, we don't climb buildings in the fire service, we use ladders to gain entry to high buildings. If we are to work off ladders for a long period of time, we use safe working at height equipment, and these consist of a harness, 2 hooks and a short adjustable rope that we can clip back onto ourselves.
How long are your ladders?
We have many different ladders on our fire engine. We have a special ladder for roofs, a triple extension ladder that we use to get into bedrooms and rescue small children stuck up trees. And our biggest ladder is this one, which is a 9-metre ladder, and our firefighters will now demonstrate.
Do you get scared climbing ladders?
Now let's see if we get scared climbing ladders. See you at the top.
To work safely off the ladder, the crew manager is taking what we call a leg lock, so we can work hands-free without any risk of falling off the ladder.
Do you go to fires every day? What do you do when you're not at a fire?
Last year, Norfolk Fire and Rescue Service attended 2,500 fires, so that equates to an average of around 7 every day across the whole of Norfolk. We don't have an average day, so we need to be prepared for all types of different emergencies. We're not attending emergencies, we aim to keep people safe by visiting homes, schools and businesses to offer advice and education. So no, we don't attend fires every single day, but should the worst happen, we're always prepared to attend to those types of emergencies.
How hard is your job?
There's no such thing as a normal day in the fire service, and every day is different. Some days are harder than others, and some can be quite stressful. We attend all different kinds of incidents, and some can be a little bit unpleasant, but we never stop training and we never stop learning new skills so that we can always be ready.
How do you become a firefighter? Do you have to train to be a firefighter?
I had to apply after working hard at school. I applied in the normal way that everybody else has to when the advert came out in the paper. I then was successful at interview. I then had to go away to do 14 weeks of training away in a different fire brigade. And when I came back, I then had to do another 4 years of training before I became a fully fledged firefighter.
Why did you become a firefighter? What job would you have chosen if you weren't a firefighter?
And I chose to become a firefighter because I like helping people and working part of the team. I probably would have chosen to be a police officer.
How do you learn to drive a fire engine?
Right, let's rewind in time, back a long time ago when I was young.
To begin with, you have to do a special 5-day driving course at our training centre. Then you have to do 40 hours of driving around in the fire engine. Then you go on another driving course to learn how to drive in emergencies. Why do you have blue lights and sirens on the fire engines?
So our blue lights and our sirens are our way of saying politely, beep beep, please move out of our way, we're in a hurry, we need to go and help someone. So that's why we put our sirens on and our blue lights, so we can be seen at night and heard from a long distance away.
How do we drive a fire engine? Basically, it's very much the same as a car. Got a steering wheel, got pedals down here by my feet, accelerator and brake. And when we get a call, get the engine on. I've got a 999 button here. Press that, all my blue lights are flashing, and now I can use my sirens as well.
Do you still use the pole?
What does it feel like to slide down the pole?
So it is quite exciting to drop down the pole, as we also know that we're then going on an emergency call. The real reason that we use poles though is because we get down from upstairs or wherever we are quicker, and it's a lot safer than everyone trying to use the stairs.
How do you reduce stress?
As you can imagine, being a firefighter can sometimes be very, very stressful. So I find that one of the best things to do to reduce stress is to keep myself fit and healthy and spend as much time as I can doing exercise. And as you can see here at Sprowston, we have an area which is set out for the firefighters to use to keep themselves fit and healthy.
You've got to be strong.
And work as a team.
Why is teamwork important in the fire service?
Imagine on the fire engines we have lots and lots of different pieces of equipment, and they all might need to be used at the same time to put out a big fire. So only by working as part of a team can we use it all at the same time to achieve what we need to do.
When can we visit you? Can we sit in the fire engine?
Sadly, due to the current restrictions, you can't actually come to the station, so we're going to give you a video tour.
This is where we come to relax once we've finished all our training or when we come back from Operation Instant.
Do you eat your breakfast at the fire station?
This is where we prepare our meals, breakfast, lunch and dinner, as this station is crewed 24/7. Here we have the admin officers. Next we have the pole drops. Now we're downstairs. This is the bottom of the pole drops. Now moving on to the printer, which should we get a call, the details will come out of the printer and we can tear them off and go to the appliances. We're now in the muster bay. This is where we keep all our PPE. Moving on, we're now in the appliance bay. King's Lynn has 5 fire engines, each has a different role. First one here is a basic fire engine. Second one, heavy rescue pump. Third one has 4-wheel drive capacity and go off-road. Fourth one, aerial appliance, can go up in the air. And the last one is a chemical protection unit. You can deal with chemical spills and similar things as that.
We don't just go to fires. Sometimes we have to go and help when chemicals have been spilled. And when that happens, we have to wear these really funny looking suits so that it keeps us safe from any gases.
On the far side you'll see the car compound where there are scrap cars that we can practice our RTC procedures on. Next to that is the smokehouse where we can practice our BA procedures, and next to that we have the drill tower.
How often do you use the training tower?
We train every week at our 42 Norfolk fire stations.
How many firefighters are there in Norfolk?
We have 266 full-time firefighters. We also have 467 on-call firefighters.
Do you still rescue cats from trees?
Help! Help! My cat's stuck up the tree! Help! Help! Save him! He's scared of heights. Ladder. Another third. Thank you so much.
That's a funny looking cat.
Thank you, fire service.
I just want to say thank you for your great questions, and I hope you've enjoyed the video and meeting the great people of the service who work really hard every day to keep you safe.
Don't forget, always wear your seatbelt, test your smoke alarms every week. Don't play with matches, call 999 in an emergency.